So believe it or not, truck driving wasn't exactly my first choice. I haven't told the story in a while, so I'm going to tell you the story of how I became a truck driver. So stick around. Well, right now I'm in the middle of filming a large project. I'm crazy excited about it, and you guys will wind up seeing that. Should be maybe April 12th. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a pretty high quality production, and I'm very, very excited about it. But that being said, it hasn't left me a whole lot of room to create videos for you guys. So I decided I'd take this opportunity to come up with something quickly and tell you guys my story and how I got here. I told this story a couple of years ago, so some of you that have been around the channel for a very long time will remember the story. But anyway, for those of you that haven't, here we go. So I was unsure about, kind of what I wanted to do in life. And I think most people are. For me, when, growing up, I was very athletic. I was into sports, and it was something that I wanted to pursue. I was a pretty good football player, and could certainly play at the collegiate level, and had aspirations of going all the way. But unfortunately, fate just kind of decided that that wasn't meant to be. As I tore my ACL my senior year of high school, then I tore it my freshman year of college, and this was after I was told that I could walk onto the football team at Baylor University. So that was very heartbreaking, and for me it was a really big bummer. And I decided that I didn't want to pursue college anymore, so I wound up leaving and pursued some other avenues. Mainly, as far as working was concerned, I got into sales, and I managed an AT&T store, but that was after I was a car salesman. I did that for quite a few years, and it just didn't really jive with my personality. I wasn't comfortable, doing the job. It felt like, when I did my job well, which was make, the dealership or make myself, quite a bit of money, I felt bad. So that kind of wore on my conscience, and I think now, in the future that I know my personality much better, it's understandable why. So sales wasn't for me. At this point, I was managing an AT&T store. It was still in sales, and this is just helping people, as everybody, well, most everybody nowadays has a smartphone. And so I didn't feel bad, about selling those. As a matter of fact, I felt good when I could help people and kind of point them in the right direction. Helping people being the key here. This will come into play in a little bit. But something was missing. And at this point, there's been some personal things in my life that have come up that I've had to deal with, and wasn't really handling them all that great, just to be honest with you. And I happened to be playing a video game one night, a computer game, actually, if I'm being specific. And in that computer game, I wound up having a talk with a truck driver. Now, I don't even remember the guy's name. Matter of fact, I probably only knew his screen name. But we had a talk, and he was telling me a lot about it. And I knew that I had a family member that was a truck driver, but I really hadn't discussed that or hadn't talked about that. As a matter of fact, he had passed away, which I'll get into that in a second too. But anyway, I had this conversation. This was a Wednesday night. On a Wednesday, I believe it was a Wednesday night. On a Wednesday night, had this conversation. The next day, I looked for how to become a truck driver, basically. He kind of guided me in the right direction. He gave me a couple of companies to look at that were local. I was in the DFW area at the time, and I wound up going with FFE. And FFE had a truck driving school. It was one of the better truck driving schools in the nation, and they had some good routes. And then being that there was a terminal very close to my house at the time, apartment, I decided to dive right in. And the process went very, very quickly for me. I didn't do a whole lot of research. I just kind of dove in. I'm a firm believer of making decisions quickly, but then sticking to those decisions, being slow to change. And for this one, for me, it seemed like a no-brainer, and so I was kind of all in. I had a good relationship with my regional manager at AT&T, and told him what was going on, and he said that he could replace me immediately. We replaced that weekend, and come Monday, I was sitting in truck driving school. That was back in 2012. So in 2012, I went through truck driving school, and went through all of the things as a things have always come fairly easily to me in life, kind of physical aspects of things, anything that takes coordination, anything that's athletic by any stretch of the imagination, but more so coordination for this. But I'll tell you, driving a truck was difficult for me to grasp. And I say it was difficult for me to grasp. It just took a little bit longer than I thought it would, and I wasn't quite as good immediately as I thought I should be. But that's okay, because it pushed me to learn. It pushed me to to drive myself at becoming better at this. And as I got out, I was a guy that really didn't do a whole lot of traveling necessarily. At this point in my life, I had lived in California for a year. I had lived up in Washington for a few months, and then growing up in the Houston area, and then living up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for a few years. I hadn't really seen a whole lot of the country. So I'm gonna tell you, the first year of truck driving for me absolutely flew by. It flew by. My first few months, this was back, FFE used to be an over-the-road company before KLLM bought them out. And so I ran over the road for about 2 months before I got a message on my Qualcomm asking me to run, or asking me if I would be interested in a dedicated plasma account. And that the drawback was that it was team driving, but the benefit was it was basically triple what I was making at the time. So for me, kind of doing the math, I only had a couple of months to really do that math on, but a couple of months, I would have averaged probably about $30,000. And this moving into this position, it would have been 90 plus. And so it was a no-brainer for me. I absolutely did that, and I did that for about 5 years. And I'm gonna tell you, I like my co-driver, or my former co-driver, but even if you guys like each other, it's very difficult to live in that truck, with someone else. No matter how close you are, no matter how well you guys get along. I'm sure some people get along really well, but for me it was difficult, and I'm sure I made it difficult on my co-driver. But did that, loved it. Got to see the United States. That was fantastic. This country is very, very beautiful, and I was really hoping that wouldn't kick on during the middle of this. So hopefully the audio is still good. Don't worry, we're almost done anyway. So did that, and then decided that, well, no, I didn't decide. So I did the plasma thing, and I wound up during this portion being a truck driver. Wound up getting married. We wanted to have kids right away, and do all the things that families do. I wound up buying a house, and I was gonna close on the house in a month, and my son was due in 2 months. And that's when the company basically cut the miles. They nearly cut them in half, and it took about 1/3 of my salary away, or my income away. And this was very detrimental. Had the house note coming up, and had the kid on the way. And so I was very, very nervous, and needed to replace my income immediately. And so, a lot of times when I talk about becoming an owner-operator, this is why I talk heavily about, having that nest egg to fall back on when you buy a truck. It's why I talk so much about financials, because I made it very difficult on myself when I became an owner-operator. I did it out of necessity. I did it, and just because I had to have that increase in income. And so I didn't have any other choice but to learn as much as I possibly could about trucks, learning about being an owner-operator, learning how to drive the truck as an owner-operator, learning how to dispatch myself, learning how to run a business, all of the things. I had to give myself a crash course in all of these things. And you know, for me, that first year, I believe I put down, if you include, right out of the gate I did a UPS account, but if you include that, my first year was about 120,000 miles. My first calendar date year was 117,000 miles. And so I was hustling. I was absolutely hustling. But, you know, I kind of went about it the wrong way. And that is what really jump-started me starting YouTube. Because I wanted to put the information out there as much as possible, you know, as much as I could teach anything that I've learned about truck driving, about you know, running a business. This year I'm going to get into to health and fitness. You know, anything that I can do to help and to really put that knowledge out there, I wanted to do because of my experiences, you know, because of the things that I've dealt with. You know, a lot of times on this channel, I'll put out videos, and, you know, sometimes you guys get to see the dark side of trucking, and that's just reality. You know, I try to keep it as real as possible. I try to, you know, not only show you the good, but show you the bad, show you the struggles that I'll deal with, show you the things that I've learned, you know, show you, you know, how much you can actually make, you know, versus what people say that they're making. You know, somebody that comes in the comments is like, oh, if you're making less than $10,000 you're failing a week, you're failing as an owner operator. You know, first of all, that's probably their gross, and second of all, they probably, you know, if it's not their gross, they've been doing it for a long time, or they're on some kind of special account. The point is, I'm trying to help set everyone up for as you know, to be as successful as possible. That was the goal of this YouTube channel, and, you know, I'm so grateful, I'm blessed how well the channel has been doing lately. It's been going nuts, and I appreciate each and every one of you. You know, I'm so thankful for this opportunity to be able to share the knowledge and my experiences, my life, with all of you, and I hope that you guys also appreciate that. So a big thanks goes out to you guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe, that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell, because when that video drops, you guys are going to be really excited. I think you're really going to like it. I am so stoked. I'm about, I don't know, somewhere between like a third and halfway through it, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't think I've been this excited about a video before, ever. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, ring that notification bell so you know whenever, blah, blah, blah. That stuff usually rolls off the tongue. My brain is definitely on this other project, so forgive me. Check out one of these videos right over here. YouTube does a great job of I can't even spit it out. Check out one of these videos right over here. YouTube does a great job of recommending something you might enjoy watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, but as always, stay driven.